Now, it's time to burn, burn, burn!
Well, what's going on out there, people? It's the Bad Bob Show. Hey, we got some really cool stuff going on today, and we got some real special people out there that really want to talk to us, and we're trying to get in touch with a lot of people. Right now, I'd like to bring out a very special person. That would be Mr. Base God 14, Alexander the Great. What's up, brother?
Hey, just out here trying to find out some news articles to throw at you. You know, some topics of discussion tonight for folks that might be able to see our graphic above our heads. You want to tell everybody what we're going to be talking about tonight?
Yeah, we got Mrs. Gifford out there had a few things to say about
Gabbard.
Oh, I don't know, Gabbard. Yeah, same thing. You know, they're out there doing their thing. You know, she's kind of switching parties almost. She didn't actually say it, but she did say, hey, look, you Democrats over there on that side, yeah, I got nothing to do with you. Yeah, it's pretty much over with. She don't like some of those folk over there. They kind of ruin things for, half of America. So she's not digging it very much, and also out in space where we normally don't hang out, there's an aircraft that flew around a few planets and decided to smash itself into an asteroid. That was pretty cool. We got some stuff on that one too. That's was trying to say if we can save the Earth by crashing shit into other stuff. So, and of course, Mr. Biden himself, man, that guy really got some really crazy stuff going on, man. Yep. So anyways, that's a few things we got going on. Anything else that's cruising out there, Mr. Alexander?
No, those are the articles that I found for today. Of course, if there's anything else that you want to bring up, and as far as a discussion, obviously we can talk about it. But what did you think you wanted to start off with tonight? Biden, Gabbard, or NASA?
Let's do NASA. NASA sounds like some pretty cool stuff right there.
All right, let's do it.
Would you find out about that that satellite that crashed into that satellite?
So for people that have been following this story, so they probably already know that NASA was conducting a special mission, basically in planetary defense, which I always think it's really interesting because that sounds like something out of science fiction, right?
Right.
It doesn't sound like something that you talk about in real life. And of course, I'm sure a lot of people, they hear planetary defense, so they're thinking aliens, right? Well, that's not what this is really about, right? This is a little bit different. So I've got this article from the Associated Press, and it says, smashing success. NASA asteroid strike results in big nudge. So a spacecraft that plowed into a small, harmless asteroid millions of miles away succeeded in shifting its orbit, NASA said Tuesday in announcing the results of its Save the World test. The space agency attempted the test 2 weeks ago to see if in the future a killer rock could be nudged out of the Earth's way. The mission shows that NASA is trying to be ready for whatever the universe throws at us, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said during briefing at the space agency's headquarters in Washington. The DART spacecraft carved a crater into the asteroid Dimorphos on September 26th, hurling debris out into space and creating a comet-like trail of dust and rubble stretching several thousand miles. It took consecutive nights of telescope observations from Chile and South Africa to determine how much the impact altered the path of the 525-foot asteroid around its companion, a much bigger space rock. Before the impact, the moonlet took 11 hours and 55 minutes to circle its parent asteroid. Scientists had anticipated shaving off about 10 minutes, but Nelson said the impact shortened the asteroid's orbit by 32 minutes. Quote, let's all just kind of take a moment to soak this in. For the first time ever, humanity has changed the orbit of a celestial body, noted Lori Glaze, NASA's director of planetary science. So there you go. Apparently it is success, and it looks like they actually altered the orbit of this asteroid more than they thought they would, which is why they had to do the test, right? To see what would actually happen if they actually did this.
I wonder how much it actually moved.
Yeah, it tells you in terms of time. It doesn't tell you in terms of like what how much the asteroid actually moved. So they're just going by the minutes, that because the asteroid that NASA hit is orbiting another larger asteroid, right? It's like a little moon. That's the way to think of it. So it's like a little moon around a bigger asteroid, just like our moon. And the impact of the dark craft, which is supposedly only the size of a soda vending machine, crashed into it and was able to alter its orbit. So now it is taking longer, right? Which means it must have moved away from the larger asteroid. So now it's taking longer for it to make an orbit around
it's taking the high road.
Asteroid. What's that?
That's right. It's taking the high road.
There you go. It's taking the high road. But it doesn't tell you in this article like how much it actually moved. It just tells you that. But what's interesting is they thought they were only going to alter it by 10 minutes, and it was over 30 minutes that they altered it. So obviously, this is why you have to do this, right? This is why you have to test, because no matter how smart these guys are, once you do something in real life, it's always different.
Right. So instead of it hitting South America, it's going to hit North America.
Well, the hope with this, you've seen the movie Deep Impact, right? You've seen Armageddon, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which, by the way, I always think it's really interesting how similar those movies are, and they came out like at the same time. Hollywood likes to rip each other off, right? So,
sure.
But I like those movies a lot myself, and there's some truth in this whole idea, because NASA, and not just NASA, but the Russian Space Agency, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Europeans, you name it, anybody who's got a space program, everybody's concerned about the possibility of an asteroid, a large asteroid, hitting the Earth and destroying us. You know what I mean? That's the theory of how the dinosaurs were killed. So they call them planet killers. So the idea here is, if something like that were to happen in the future, could we actually deflect that asteroid? And at least in principle now, not just theory, because now it's actually been done in principle. Yes, we could. Yes, we could.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. How far out was that? Where was that located anyways?
I'm not sure. I feel like it might have said something later in the article about how far away this thing is. Because the two bodies are less than a mile apart. It says now they're tens of yards closer, actually. Oh, that's interesting. So I would have thought it would have been farther away, because they said it was taking longer to make the orbit. It says the two bodies were already less than a mile apart. Now they're tens of yards closer to each other. It says neither asteroid posed a threat to Earth, and still don't, as they continue their journey around the sun. So that's why scientists picked the pair for its all-important dress rehearsal. But it doesn't. I don't think it says exactly how far away these asteroids are. But they weren't in any we weren't in any danger of these things hitting us. That's one of the reasons that they actually did the test, because they knew that even if they altered the orbit significantly, it wasn't going to hit the Earth. You know what I mean? Oh,
so no matter what, it won't hit us anyways. Okay.
And here it is. It says launched last year, the vending machine-sized DART, short for Double Asteroid Redirection Test, that's what DART stands for, was destroyed when it slammed into the asteroid 7 million miles away at 14,000 miles per hour. So 7 million miles away. That's how far away these things are. And the probe was traveling at 14,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? We got to protect good old Mother Earth, man, because we got nowhere else to go. So that's just the way.
Well, not if Elon Musk has anything to do with it. If Elon Musk has anything to do with it, we're gonna have a colony on Mars soon. So,
matter of fact, I'm glad you said him. What's the next biggest big and great thing he's doing? He's actually going to Mars here pretty quick.
Well, he's still doing his tests with Starship. In fact, I actually did see a picture. That's pretty impressive. They're gearing up for their next test of Starship, and I saw a picture. I wonder if I can share it. Let's see if I can actually share it. Let's see here.
I mean, so on the Starship, didn't he say he wants to go to Mars like next year or something like that? It's like next year, a year and a half from now.
I don't know how quickly, because obviously Starship has to be able to work. It has to be able to go into orbit. Starship has been able to ascend, right? It's been able to go up, but then it just came back down and crashed. You know what I mean? And that was actually intended. It was supposed to come down and crash. You know, like they didn't have a way for it to land yet. You know, because it's so big. I'm trying to see if I can find that picture. It's pretty impressive. It's on my other account. That's why I'm having some trouble finding it. Here, let me see if I can do this. If you want to tap dance a little, Rob, I'll see if I can find the picture.
So interesting. You know, we're going to talk about Elon Musk here too, but you know, we'll jump over to Biden. It looks like he still is pissed off Putin. Looks like he still wants to keep talking crap to Russia's president there. Hopefully he doesn't go to nuclear war, because if it goes to war, man, we just don't want nothing to do with that. You know, and I wish it doesn't look like he's getting any saner either. When we're talking about Biden, not Putin. Biden is just losing his mind. He can barely even speak now. He's out of control. Man, it's getting stupid. So, but hey, there it is. That's wow. You know what's funny about that rocket? That rocket looks like something out of Flash Gordon.
Yeah, or Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon, right? You know, it's like,
yep.
It's pretty impressive, you know, and you see that, and this thing is huge, you know.
It
is meant to carry like 100 people. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
That's what
that.
it's supposed to do. The SpaceX Starship is actually supposed to be able to transport about 100 people to Mars. That's what the goal of that's the whole goal. That's the whole purpose of this spaceship.
And, I was watching. He was talking about minerals, and he was talking to Joe Rogan yesterday. Well, I saw a show he was talking to him on yesterday, but Rogan had asked him about, can we put people on another planet? And he said, and of course, in Elon's thinking, stood there and sat there, and you see him contemplating an answer. It took him forever to answer it, but by the time he did, it all came down to minerals, and it came down to water. It came down to minerals. That's what it comes down to. And he goes, if there's actually one or two minerals missing, he goes, it really, you almost got to scrub the whole mission, basically, because it ain't going to do us any good to go there if the minerals aren't there to use to recolonize a whole, humans. So, but that's pretty impressive. That rocket is big. That is big. That's bigger than
Yeah,
the Apollos.
it's huge, and it's really interesting to. I've seen some of the test footage, including the one. The first
huge.
test was like completely like unsuccessful, where it basically kind of just went up a little bit and then just like blew up. But the second one, I mean, it actually flew up, and then it came crashing back down, but they're getting there,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's huge. You know what they should do is just, send all the stuff up, into space and assemble everything up in space. Why isn't nobody doing that?
I've asked that question myself, because that's what would make sense to me. Like that's what they did with the International Space Station, right? The International Space Station was taken up in modules, and then they put it all together in space. It didn't fly up there. You know what I mean? They put it, and I don't understand, honestly. I think the reason why right now is because from Elon Musk's perspective, even though he's the richest man in the world, he's got limited resources. So he can't be ferrying up, I think, a bunch of parts to assemble a ship. He needs something that can come from Earth and go into orbit and go beyond. You know what I mean? I think that's where he's coming from. I think the larger question is why, as a world, we aren't trying to do something like that. And I think it gets into politics, right? I think it gets into like for instance, right now, what are the two biggest space programs, right? The United States and Russia. Well, we're not getting along too well right now. Although I don't know if you saw what was interesting, though. They just sent a mission to the International Space Station, and this was the first time that a Russian cosmonaut flew on a SpaceX ship. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
that just happened. Yeah, so this was the first. So even with everything going on, SpaceX and NASA did send a Russian cosmonaut in a SpaceX ship. It just happened. Yeah. But I ask myself that question all the time, Rob, because to me, you're right. To me, it makes more sense for us to build a large ship in space. Build it in modules here on the ground, send it up, one piece at a time, and assemble it in orbit, and then you could have a much bigger ship, right? Because you don't have to deal with the same. You don't have to deal with an atmosphere, for one thing, but all the issues that we have in getting things into orbit, you don't have to deal with once it's already there. And then you can assemble something much bigger that we would never be able to lift off, from the Earth, but we could assemble it, in orbit. And we've done it. We've done it with the International Space Station. So I don't know why we don't do that. I think that's a great question. I've asked that question myself, and I have not heard a really good answer, except I think it comes down to will. I think that the big space programs and the big ones, like I said, it's the United States, Russia, Japan, the European Space Agency, those are really the big ones. China has a big one, but China's kind of out of the loop. They're not part of the International Space Station. They're doing their own thing. And we haven't been able to get all these parties together and say, let's do this. Let's build a large spacecraft in orbit. Just hasn't happened, Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to some other stuff. That was pretty cool stuff. I like that stuff.
I'm into it too.
Biden. What the hell is going on with that dude? That dude is lost. My God.
Talking about our supreme leader.
Oh yeah. If that's what you want to call him. I mean, he's like.
I think that's what he wants to be called. Yeah, right?
Supreme leader of. I ain't even going to say. I mean, it's just the guy cannot even speak. The guy's lost it completely. I mean, it's over. It's over. The guy.
Well, interestingly enough, there may be quite a few other people that agree with you. Are you able to see this article?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay, so this is another Associated Press article, and it's a poll, and it says majority in U.S. see relations with adversaries souring. It says a majority of U.S. adults expect America's relations with foreign adversaries like Russia and North Korea to grow more hostile, according to a new poll. A major shift in public opinion from 4 years ago under President Donald Trump. 2 years into Biden's administration, 60% of U.S. adults say relations with adversaries will get worse, up from 26% 4 years ago at the same point in the Trump administration, according to the poll from the Pearson Institute and the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. Just 21% say relationships with allies will deteriorate, down from 46% then. In general, 39% expect the country's global standing to worsen, compared to 48% who said in 2018. Crucially, the United States' own sharply divided domestic politics influence views of the country's standing abroad. So again, it says the majority in the U.S. see relations with adversaries souring. And this is a contrast to how people felt about Trump at the same point in his administration 4 years ago. So what do you think of that, Rob?
Well, souring, I'll tell you, just that word by itself. It, basically, in a nutshell, Putin and North Korea, they don't even give a shit. They're just looking at him going, what an idiot. You know, let's fire off a couple of missiles and let's have some fun with the old man. You know, it's just, they don't even care. They'll just, and look at Japan. Japan's shitting their pants right now, which, you know what, to be honest with you, what's it, Kim Jong
just had another missile test. Yeah, they just had another missile test near Japan from North Korea.
That's what I was going to say. But the thing is, you know, Japan's going to hold on one sec. Japan doesn't even actually. They're pissed that a missile is flying over their heads or right by them. But you know what? Unless that missile falls down, hits the land, Kim Jong-un, that dude, he's tripping. He's just out there, you know, shooting some missiles off, pissing everybody off. And, you know, as long as they don't hit nothing, nobody's going to do nothing. You know, and of course, you know, Biden, he hears the story, oh, yeah, a missile flew over Japan, and he'll go, well, did it hit the land? And they'll go, no. He'll go, okay. He'll move on to the next subject. You know, they doesn't even care, man. Unless it hits Japan, nothing's going to happen. And these guys are going to get away with murder, you know, until Trump gets back in the office or somebody. You know,
one of the issues, though, Rob, is that, remember, the North Koreans aren't just shooting these missiles off just because. These are tests. So what they're doing is they're evaluating the quality of their own missiles. And every time they do one of these tests, they're going to get better. They're going to get better because that's what you have to do. You have to test these missiles. It's just like what NASA was doing, right? NASA was testing out this idea of how they can move an asteroid, right? There's all these theories. Now they had to do it in real life and see if it would actually work, if it would actually do anything. And the same thing, the North Koreans are doing the same thing with their missiles. They're not just shooting them off just to be like, you know, be jerks or whatever. They're testing the missiles. They're making sure that they're accurate. And that's the thing that's really scary. And that's why Japan is freaking out, because they know the more tests they do, the better their missiles are going to get.
Well, you know, believe it or not, that little, you know, what do they call him? Little Rocket Man? Is that what they call him?
Rocket Man.
He
I think it wasn't Trump. Didn't Trump say that when he was first talking about him?
Little Rocket Man. Yeah. He's not that stupid. He is, but
the funny thing is, Trump actually had a good relationship with him.
He did.
They got along.
Remember when he walked across the border?
Oh, I was amazed. I thought that was a moment in history. I mean, I was amazed. I thought that was so presidential when he just walked into North Korea unannounced, basically. I mean, that's gangster. You know what I mean? That is just like straight pimping. You know what I mean? He just walked in there.
Why not?
And King, I can't pronounce his name either, but the leader of North Korea, he was there to meet him, and he shook his hand. And I remember what he said. He said, "I never expected to meet you here. Never. He really got him off guard, and I think he actually touched him. Like he was like, this is pretty cool
They
that you're
shook
doing
hands.
this. You know what I mean?
They shook
Yeah,
hands.
they shook hands and everything like that. And it was a big moment. And I was really proud of Trump for doing that, you know, because I do believe that we do need to negotiate. I don't want us to give away the farm, but I don't want us to go to war when we don't have to, you know?
Yeah. And I don't think, like you said, you know, they're all out there, you know, they're out there playing right now. That's what they're doing. That's what the souring is. Everybody knows that Biden's weak. They already know that he's not going to do nothing. He ain't going to do nothing unless something by NATO's and the U.S. standards happens, and nobody's going to do nothing. They can fire all the missiles they want if they want to test it. And you know how far those missiles get. I remember the first couple when they first got shot off the ICBMs that they were trying to make. You know, it made it halfway across the China Sea. You know, the next one didn't even make it barely off the coast, and it took a crap and blew up. You know, and you know, it's like firecrackers coming out of a bottle. You know, it's just one goes this way, one goes that way. It's like the old Saddam Hussein Scud missiles. You know, they just point it towards Israel and just hopefully it lands somewhere over there. You know, they don't even, you know, that's how much technology. Now I know their technology is better than that. And I think the biggest thing right now, it's not really the technology as far as steering it. What it is, it's getting it over there. It's the propulsion system that the U.S. and Russia is not going to give up, or China is. Well, you know, I don't know about China and North Korea. I don't know how if they're actually buddies or not. Are they? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's probably North Korea's best ally is China. I mean, that's probably their most reliable ally. I mean, they're the ones who bailed them out in the Korean War. Otherwise, you know, there wouldn't be a North Korea if it wasn't for the Chinese.
If that's the case, and China has missiles that can cruise across the world, then why doesn't North Korea? So they're holding back their technology.
They kind of do. They kind of do, Rob. I mean, the North Koreans were able to put a satellite in orbit. If they can put a satellite in orbit, they can. That's what you need to make an ICBM. So,
well, if that's the case, then why are they puking? So it must be just a big show. That's what it is. It has to be a show then. You know, hey,
I think one of the big issues is accuracy.
Well, I mean,
it's like you were talking about the Scuds, right?
Yeah,
the Scuds could make it to Israel, but actually making it go to, say, Tel Aviv or making it go to Jerusalem, that's a different matter. You know what I mean? Because they didn't really know where that missile was going to land. You know what I mean? So, you kind of want to know that, because if a missile lands in, like, say, the middle of the desert, that's not really going to do anything, right? So,
well, you got me thinking a little bit, because, you know, aircraft, 747s, 727s, 737s, big jet aircraft, they go into autopilot as soon as they take off, and they'll fly right to your airport, literally right to the front of the actual airport itself, the actual runway. So, and those computers are directing the aileron arms and rudders to fly that coordinate to that location. Well, North Korea has that. They have it on their jets. Then why don't they have it on their missiles? All they do is only 4 fins. You know, that's all it is. You know, in a bullet head. That's all it is. I know for a fact. You know, they probably do that just to, you know, make us think they're stupid. You know, and probably most of them are stupid. But
Well,
But I think
the South Koreans
they
are
got
not
it.
stupid, and I don't think the North Koreans are different than the South Koreans. That's fundamentally.
No. Well,
So,
what I mean is they're making us seem that they are still performing these tests, which they are, and they keep crashing out in the middle of the sea. But now they're flying over Japan now, so that's just that's like poking the line, in the cage.
it is.
That's what they're doing, and I think
what it's going to result in is a militarized Japan. I already read an article before that says Japan is going to adopt the NATO standard of 2% GDP. And what's significant about that is, remember, Japan is the third largest economy in the world behind the United States and China. It's the third largest in the world. That's a massive amount of money. Okay. So because they're about 1% now, and they already have a great military, quite frankly. So if they're going to double their budget in the next couple of years, they're going to have a phenomenal military. You know what I mean? They're going to have all sorts of things. And of course, the thing that everybody's worried about is, are they going to nuclearize? Are they eventually going to decide? That's a big thing also. We've talked about Ukraine quite a bit. And with all the saber rattling that Putin's been doing, a lot of people are getting to the point that they're convinced he is going to use a nuke. A lot of people are getting to that point. And if he does, I guarantee you, Japan will nuclearize. Yeah. And by the way, what I'm hearing is China is really upset at Putin right now because they've told him no. Because if you do that, that's going to be a disaster for us, because Japan will get nuclear weapons. There's even talk Vietnam would get nuclear weapons, because even though Vietnam and China are both communists, they don't get along. The Vietnamese do not like the Chinese. People forget China invaded Vietnam after our Vietnam War. The Chinese invaded Vietnam. So they hate each other. You know what I mean? Even though they're communists. So it's funny, but they're talking about, Vietnam could nuclearize, Japan could nuclearize. There's even talk about Indonesia or some of these other countries in the area. Certainly South Korea would, because South Korea and Japan could make a nuke tomorrow. You know what I mean? If they wanted to, they could make a nuke tomorrow. And Taiwan's another one. Taiwan's another one.
They just need to kill the crap.
So if Putin was to do this, he is going to create problems for one of his best allies, China. And China is saying, do not do this, because everybody in our neighborhood is going to get nuclear weapons if you do that. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think everything's coming to a head here pretty quick. I think Russia has to make a decision here probably within the next week or so. They got to do something. Either do it or don't do it and shut the hell up.
And we do have a comment, Rob, and we've got Kevin from Chicago asking, how do I join? Kevin, let us know if you are interested in being a guest on the show. Please contact us directly through the comments. It looks like you're on YouTube, so you can contact us on the comments. Anyway, we also have a Twitter account. We have a Twitch account. And on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, right? We have a Facebook page for Bad Bob Productions. Any of those ways, Kevin, just reach out to us. Let us know what you're about, and we can look into having you on the show. We'd love to have guests on the show. So if you want to join the show, just let us know, Kevin. And, just give us a little bit of information about what you're about, maybe what you want to talk about, and we can definitely look into having you on the show. And thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions or comments about what we're talking about, please let us know what your thoughts are. And again, if you want to join the show, a future show, just give us your info and your comments. We can always, check out your page and see what you're all about. And we definitely would like to have guests on the show, right, Rob?
Sure. Hey, Kevin, if you're still out there, hey, how's the weather out there in Chicago right now? Huh?
Chicago.
Huh? How's the weather out there? Is it cold or is it warm? Let us know.
Out here in Arizona, it's starting to cool down, right? Where you're at, it's starting to cool down too, right? I live, in the East Valley. Rob lives even farther than me in the almost past the Phoenix metro area.
I live in
where I'm at, it's starting to cool down finally. It's starting to cool down out here.
65 in the morning. 80
Yeah,
in
it's
the
pretty
day.
nice. And the evenings, there's a couple times I've gone out at night. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's nice. It's like I actually I got my bike out of storage, my bicycle, and because I want to start riding because it's starting to get nice. And I got a flat tire. I got to get one of the tires replaced. It's been in
Oh,
storage too long.
yeah.
And Kevin said, "Hey,
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin's got two comments here. He said, regarding your question, it's starting to cool down over in Chicago. So it's starting to it really cools down there. I know that, Kevin, because I went to Great Lakes for boot camp, and we had to fly into Chicago, and it was in December. So I've been in Great Lakes, otherwise known as Great Mistakes. I've been there, and I've never understood the idea of why sailors are marching in the snow, but I did it as a sailor. I marched in the snow, so I know how cold it gets out there, Kevin. But Kevin says he wants to talk about the establishment against Tulsi. That sounds like a good transition. What do you think, Rob? He wants to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, and we've got an article for him, right?
That's right.
Let me get the ticker up.
Let them whip it out there for you there.
And
yeah, Kevin, that's some crazy stuff's going on out there, huh? Yeah. Yeah, she bailed, man. She just said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with the far, far left stuff. She was like, she didn't say she wasn't a Democrat no more. She said, I'm leaving the one side that's just out of control with it.
Well, I have her tweet right here. So, because I put it on our official Twitter. This is actually her comments. Can you see it okay, Rob?
There it is right there. Yep.
Okay. So here's what she said. I can no longer remain in today's Democrat Party that is now under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness who divide us by racializing every issue and stoke anti-white racism, actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms, are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, demonize the police and protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, believe in open borders, weaponize the national security state to go after political opponents, and above all, dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. I believe in a government that is of, by, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government of, by, and for the powerful elite. I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, I invite you to join me. That is the quote, my friend.
So where's she going?
That's a great question, isn't it? I think a lot of people are wondering that.
Yeah. So if she says she's leaving, where's she going?
But she doesn't say where she's going. She does not say where she's going. That's a very good point.
What do you think here, Kevin?
Yeah, it's Kevin did have a comment where he said, yeah, they turned on her when she went and visited Assad, the Syrian president. That's when they started calling her Assad's toady and a Russian puppet. That's interesting, Kevin. I actually don't remember that. I don't remember when she went to visit Assad. Do you remember that, Rob, when she went to the Syrian president?
No.
I actually wasn't aware of that, Kevin. To be honest with you, I haven't followed Tulsi Gabbard all that much. I do know a lot of libertarians like her because she's very anti-war. And also it's important to remember Tulsi actually, as far as I know, I think she's still in the reserves. I think she still is serving in the military. I know she was. I know she at least was. I think she was in the Hawaiian National Guard, if I remember right.
I know she did a lot of flyovers. I know she flew over Saudi Arabia.
But she served, and I think she might even still be in the reserves. I don't remember. But of course, she was a Congress congresswoman.
Yeah,
she was a member of Congress, and she was also a presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. I remember that fiasco. Remember there was like 100 people on stage, and she was one of them.
Yeah,
So,
but getting to your point there, Kevin, what I mean, okay, she went down there and hung out with some of those chic dudes, but hey, what was that?
Assad's not a chic man.
Yeah.
Assad is just like a he's a strong man, basically.
I'm just messing around.
But
the thing is, what was the conversation about? See, because I don't know. I didn't know what happened, so do you have more information on that? What was the conversation about?
Yeah, we'll see if Kevin's still with us, if he can
inform
us. I can actually look up an article for you. If you want to tap dance, I can look up an article and see if I can find something for you.
Yeah.
About the visit. You want me to look it up?
Yeah, just let me know and also let me know if Kevin's still out there too. That's a good question out there, Kevin. You know what, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'd like to know more about that. Mr. Alexander the Great there is going to jump on and see if he can find some stuff about it. But you know what? Good for her. You know what? A long time ago, I used to be a Democrat. Yeah, a long time ago. But it goes back. It goes back to Reagan and way back then. And then after that, I really didn't care after that because it was just going nowhere. Even the Republicans. It never did straighten out. And how many recessions? I've been in at least 3 recessions and lost my ass every single time. Bad. Lost houses, lost jobs. Thank God, I've been married a long time. So thank God my marriage has, stayed together through all the thick and thins. And it's been rough. And then now, we're in another recession now. It's caused a lot of stuff which Tulsi Gabbard's talking about right now. It's bad. I went to go get fuel. It's $5 a gallon.
Yep.
That's cheap stuff, man. That's not even the heavy duty stuff is like California stuff is $8-9 a gallon. That's crazy, So
I found an article for you.
There? Is Kevin still out there, or is he?
Yeah, he is. I just wanted to read the article to you real quick, or at least the headline. So this is how old is this one? It says this article is more than 5 years old. So this was a while back. It's dated Thursday, January 26, 2017.
Wow.
Tulsi Gabbard reveals she met Assad in Syria without informing top Democrats. Hawaiian Congresswoman claims she went on a fact-finding mission in support of peace for the Syrian people, but characterized U.S.-backed rebels as terrorists. So there's the kind of the short version of it. She went there, basically saying that she was trying to find a solution to the Syrian, because the Syrian civil war was raging, back in 2017, and that's what she said. So Kevin did have a comment. He said Syria is the enemy of Israel, and that's where the conflict starts. Definitely, Syria and Israel do not get along with each other. I know Israel has actually been conducting bombings of Syria, but of course, I think the claim by Israel would be that they're bombing terrorists. They're bombing people that are a threat to Israel. Incidentally, I don't know if you saw, Rob, but Israel just hammered out a deal with Lebanon. Did you hear about that?
Wow.
Yeah, they just hammered out a deal with Lebanon over some oil rigs. So now Israel and potentially Lebanon are going to be producing oil.
Oh my God!
Because the main sticking point was that Hezbollah was threatening to destroy the Israeli oil rig if they didn't hammer out an agreement. So they actually hammered out an agreement very recently. And then what else does Kevin say here? Kevin says she asked other colleagues to go with her to Syria, and no one else would because they knew they would be demonized. I could see that. I could see that.
Man, what kind of people are out there, man? What a bunch of jokers, man. That should have never even happened. They should have went out there and supported her just like everybody else, at least try to work out some deals and talk about peace and get, stop a lot of this crap that's happening. That's bullshit. So yeah, that's some good stuff there, Kevin. I had no idea. That's something to think about right there. I wonder why she doesn't talk about that anymore.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I don't follow her that much. Do you really? I mean, do you really follow?
When I see her speak, I actually, online or, whatever, Facebook news, whatever, when I see her talking, I listen because she always has something patriotic to say about the country. And she, I might not agree with everything she says, but I would say probably 90% of it. I mean, it's all fair, and it's like anybody else. You can't agree 100%.
From what I know, her economics are kind of crazy. I think she's into like the basic minimum income and some of those other kind of things that I think are kind of nuts. But, I do agree with her as far as I think she's right as far as, we have been far too militaristic. You know what I mean? We've been meddling way too much in the internal affairs of other countries in the name of democracy. And here's what we should have learned. This is what I feel like we should have learned from Iraq and Afghanistan, especially at this point, right? You cannot impose democracy on another country.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can do that is if you completely annihilate it and then you completely garrison it like we did after World War II, right? After World War II, we had destroyed Germany and we destroyed Japan. I mean, we destroyed them, right? We dropped nukes on Japan, right? And then we came in and we garrisoned the country. We occupied it because we had a huge army and we were able to do it. We did not have the numbers in Iraq or the numbers in Afghanistan to garrison the entire country. We just never did. And it's not possible to impose democracy in that kind of situation. It's just impossible. We took on more than we could chew, and we see the result, right? Afghanistan's back in the hands of the Taliban, right?
That's right.
I mean, can you believe that? I mean, I still can't believe that sometimes that we just went full, we went 180, not 360 degrees, not 180. We went 360 degrees. When we went into Afghanistan, the Taliban were in charge. And when we left, they were in charge, right? That's right. Iraq is a borderline failed state. It's a borderline failed state. Who knows what the future of Iraq is going to be?
Yeah, well, that's some good stuff there. Hey, thanks, Kevin. That was some good stuff there.
Well, Kevin has a comment about Elon, and we have talked quite a bit. Actually, Kevin, if you want to check out our previous video, we did do a previous video where we kind of went into depth about Elon's Twitter, about his Twitter comments, and obviously you're commenting about that right now. So Kevin from Chicago says, Elon Musk tried to negotiate peace with Russia and Ukraine, and the establishment attacked him for being a Russian puppet. So Kevin, I can say from my perspective, Kevin, I was not very happy about what Elon said. I think Rob, you were more middle of the road a little bit, but I full disclosure, I always say full disclosure, I'm half Estonian. So you know what side I'm on. Okay. You know what side I'm on. All right. It ain't the Russians. I'm not on the Russian side, but I do see what Kevin is saying that, people did. I've seen the attacks on Twitter, by the way, where people are now saying that Elon is a Putinista. He is a puppet of Putin. You know what I mean?
A Putinista? Is that what you said?
A Putinista. My friend came up with that term, the Putinistas.
Putinistas. Hey, you know what, Elon, if he wants to throw his 2 cents in, let him throw his 2 cents in. He's too busy anyways. He's trying to fly to Mars.
Hey, speaking of Elon, what I need him to do is I need him to go tomorrow and knock out this Twitter deal, because again, full disclosure, I own Twitter stock and I need to make my money. Okay. Yeah. Just buy the frickin' stock already, Elon, and make me a few bucks so I can get out of this deal. You know what I mean? Because I don't want nothing anymore to do with it. So, right. and Rob Bad Bob, he's living up to his name. He's the one who got me to invest in Twitter. So you're the one that told me. You're the one that told me what was happening. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. I'm going to do this. And
make that money.
We've seen what's happened with him dragging his feet.
Well, yeah.
Kevin says, I am Polish and I can see through this BS. And you know what, Kevin, good for you. But, Poland right now, they're feeling the heat. And Poland has been sending large stockpiles of weapons to Ukraine because the Polish, like the Estonians, they feel like they could be next. And they're justified in that thinking because historically, like Estonia is a great example, and so is Poland, but Estonia more so because Estonia has never been a great power. Poland was. Poland and Lithuania, they were a great power at one time. Estonia has never been a great power. And Estonia constantly trades hands between the Germans and the Russians. My grandmother hated Germans and Russians because she always felt like they always got a bad deal between one of them, And my grandmother, when she was little, it was World War I era. So she lived in Estonia in that time, and she hated that, being going back and forth between the Germans and the Russians, because that happened in World War I and it happened in World War II, so it's a tough neighborhood. It's tough being Eastern European. We got Bad Bob over here. You're like Irish, right? Irish and Scottish, right?
Yep. 50-50.
Yeah, I remember your mom got that thick accent, that Scottish accent. But you've never had to deal with this, As an Irishman and a Scotsman, you have to deal with the English all the time, right? That's what you have to deal with. So.
Damn Irishmen, Scots, Irish, English. Yeah, you're a little arrogant for me, but you know what? That's all right. Whatever. I just, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, I just wish, that's what I wish people would just get it over with, man. Come on, let's go. Let's just be happy. Stop fighting. Let's make the world a nice place for everybody. And I think a lot of that's coming to a head here. I think, some of the other countries that have never seen the outside of their countries are starting to see the outsides a little bit. I think the internet has pushed society into them, and I think they're starting to see a little bit of light on the outside of their countries, especially with Russia and North Korea and China, and they know what's going on. They're starting to find out, hey, wait a minute. It's really not that bad out there. You guys have been telling us that, if we peek out there, we're going to get our eye poked, and I think as far as that side of it, I think people are starting to wake up now. But what I'm hoping that doesn't happen is we go to war. Nobody wants that war right now. Nobody wants the war. Militaries aren't ready for it. Maybe China is because they got 1 billion people over there. But besides
China has some big economic problems right now. I don't know if you've heard about the real estate crisis that's going on in China. But one of the interesting things about China that I didn't know is the Chinese stock market is not where people in China do not trust the Chinese stock market. That's how shady it is. Okay.
Wow.
So what people do in China to preserve wealth is they invest in real estate, and right now they're having this mortgage problem, this financing problem in China, and there's some people that say it could take the whole country down. So China's got their own problems, is what I'm trying to say. Plus they've got that zero COVID thing, so they keep locking down, like they were locking down Shanghai. They're doing crazy stuff in China, so they've got their own problems.
Yeah.
And the last thing they want is for Putin, again, to deploy nuclear weapons, because if he does, I guarantee you the next day, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea will all nuclearize. And they all can do it. They can all do it within a couple days.
We protect Japan anyways, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, most Japanese don't trust that. I don't know if you know that, but most Japanese do not trust the United States helping them in a war.
Wow, didn't know that.
I know that from actually dating a Japanese girl back in college, that most Japanese don't believe, push comes to shove, that will help them. They believe they have to rely on themselves.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. All right. Well, thanks, Kevin, out there in Chicago. That was really cool. They brought up some
Yeah,
really
Kevin,
cool
thank you
stuff
for your
there.
comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
really appreciate it. You had some good insights. And again, if you do want to be on a future show, just let us know what you're about. Message us or do a comment. Like I said, we've got, obviously you're on YouTube, so we do look for the comments on YouTube. So if you want to, send us some information or send us a link, maybe if you have a link to maybe I don't know if you're on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, so we can kind of get a sense what you want about. And then if you have a topic you want to talk about, Rob and I will talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whatever you got, we'll talk about it. It's Kevin, you still out there in Chicago out there?
He did say, thanks guys.
Oh, no problem. Hey, Kevin, if you're still out there, hey, out in Chicago, what's the big sport out there? Is it hockey? Is it baseball? Is it football? What is it?
It's funny because are any of the Chicago teams doing well right now, or have they done well in the last year or two?
I don't know.
Because I remember growing up. I remember growing up when Jordan was big, right? And of course the Bulls
Chicago
were
Bulls
dominant.
That's right.
But I think it's been a while. Well, he says football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, which is kind of standard, right? I mean, that's the way it is out here too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean we're big with those two.
Yeah, he says Chicago, it's a sports town all around.
Oh, it is.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I always think, you remember the super fans on Saturday Night Live? Do you remember that, Rob?
Oh yeah.
The Bulls, the Bears. Do you remember that?
The Bulls. Yeah.
I don't know how old Kevin is, if you remember that stuff, Kevin, but I used to love that bit. The super fans on Saturday Night Live.
Cool. All right. Well, listen. We're hitting that red hour right there.
Yeah, we're at the hour mark.
Yeah. So, Kevin, thanks, bud. If you got any other people out there you want to have them join in on you, we'll be back probably next Monday, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, we're still playing, right, with both the day and the time, right? We're still kind of up in the air a little bit as far as, obviously we did this show later. We had been doing the show like at 5 on Mondays, and we switched it to 7 here on Tuesday, and so we'll probably be somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. Just look for us, you'll find us.
We're switching it up a little bit.
Let us know. We'll as time goes on, we'll have a set time and stuff, and you guys will be able to jump on and ask us whatever you want. And hey, you never know, we might even pull you on with us. There you go. Yeah, we can have a great old time. Just sit here and just bark at stuff and have a good time. But anyways, Mr. Alexander, Base Gun 14, we are at that hour. We need to rock and roll. So, all right, everybody, thanks a lot out there for your time, and thanks for listening to us. And got any questions? If you guys watch this anytime during the week, when you just happen to see it, just jump on, throw some comments on there. We'll next time we come up, we'll throw it on our list of stuff to talk about, and we'll give our 2 cents worth. All right.
And let's go ahead and leave Kevin with the last word. He says, of course, Chicago has the Bulls, Cubs, and the Blackhawks.
That's right.
He is subscribed.
Nice.
He is now subscribed. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, man.
And we'll go ahead and leave you with the last word.
All right. Well, listen, I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy. Bad Bob says, have a beautiful day. Talk to you guys later.